We get set for the Elite Racing League special event, the Myrtle Beach 125. Seth Cole alongside of Samuel Dyer, and Sam, a little bit different from what we've had here the last couple of Mondays with the Mega Driver 86 series. Taking a little break from that, going short track racing here tonight.
Taking a break from the B cars and heading to the super late models. Man, it feels like we're going from a blast to the past with these cars.
Be 125 laps, I believe, here this evening. And there's a couple of caveats, couple of rules that are in place here for tonight's race. A little bit smaller of a field, but why don't you run us through like some of the things that we're going to be seeing here in this race, specifically in regards to what they can do on pit stops?
Yeah, like you said, it's 125 laps, but there's going to be one mandatory pit stop at lap 65. All cars need to take 4 tires, and that's the only tire change that you can have during the race. So even if you get in an accident or a wreck, you can come down and get that fixed, but you cannot get new tires until lap 65.
Of course, as we mentioned too, this is a special event, which means there's actually several purses on the line. There was an entry fee to get into this race. I believe we had 19 cars in the field when they got ready to go to qualifying. The winner is going to get the biggest purse. They also receive a trophy, and they get tickets to Myrtle Beach Speedway, a future event there. The top 10 finishers are going to bank a purse. Some of them will be banking about the same amount as the entry fee, but some of them that might finish up in second, third will probably get a little bit higher of a purse.
Yeah, I believe I heard that first place is getting $30 and getting all the prizes of going to Myrtle Beach and all of that. Second place is going to be getting 25 and 20 for third.
And as we're going to be getting ready for this race here at Myrtle Beach, a couple of track facts about this particular racetrack. We were looking at the way that they're racing here in practice, and we're expecting this could be a pretty clean race and could go by pretty quickly. It's a little over a half mile, 5.38 miles to be exact. The bankings in the corners, not a whole lot, 13 degrees. Straightaways have about 4 degrees on the front, 3 degrees on the back. But one thing that we saw in practice, and something that I've seen at Myrtle Beach in past broadcasts, is this is a multi-groove racetrack. So we could see drivers in some pretty good side-by-side battles.
2 wide, 3 wide. I mean, we saw them trying to do 3 wide in practice. It didn't stick as well as they want, but it is possible if you get clean enough through the corner to go 3 wide here.
One thing that is going to be interesting to see what drivers do is how they're going to approach the first half of this race and the second half of this race. You mentioned the fact the only time they can take tires is just past the halfway point at lap 65. So what do you think? Maybe for guys that are up at the front, try and be aggressive, get yourself a pretty good lead over the rest of the field in the first 65 laps?
I mean, pushing it hard is the way to go, but also just seeing how these tires are going to unfold. Are they going to last very long? Are people going to take care of it and see how their long run setups are? It matters on how aggressive they want to race, and then also on the second half of the race, when you have those only one pair of tires left, how far are you going to be pushing those?
These are the super late models. The last race that I saw at this particular racetrack were actually the Whelen Modifieds, but I do remember that there was a driver that had about 25, 30 lap older tires, and somehow he was able to make the high line work and battle for the lead and actually hang on for the lead. So, you know, obviously there's a difference in setups, there's a difference in the type of cars there are, and there might be a little bit of a difference in the track conditions as far as the weather is concerned as well. So, maybe all of that past history of stuff that I've seen at this track could be completely out the window, but it will be interesting to see how the older tires as the run goes on stack up to maybe guys that could be conserving their tires for a long run and may charge late, especially in the first half of this race.
Something else to watch out for is we don't know if there's a mandatory caution at this point. I don't think that there is a mandatory caution for this pit stop. It's when lap 65 comes around, you come in. And this pit road is going to be really tricky for these guys to come in if it's a green flag run.
Absolutely, no doubt about that. Another thing that might also come into play too, with it being a short track, is the fact we may end up seeing traffic come into play. If the leaders end up laying down really good lap times, catch up to the tail end of the field, we could end up seeing that come into play with second, third, fourth be able to reel in the race leader with the aid of not necessarily the slower traffic, but just drivers that didn't have the benefit of qualifying up towards the front of the field. As we are getting set to go racing here, the field is gridding. And we'll take a look here at the starting grid as it's going to be the 55 of Brandon Wilkinson on the pole alongside of Chad Frankenfield. Quite a number of these drivers, we're very familiar with the names. They took part so far this season in the Mega Driver 86 series, but there are some names in this field we haven't seen before, so we're going to be getting to see them for the very first time.
Yeah, that's going to be in 5th with Cole Gale in that number 9 car. I haven't seen him in the Mega Driver series, but he's coming out to have a little bit fun here with the boys.
The jury's still out. We don't know for absolute certain, but for those that are very familiar with the old school drivers in NASCAR, Cale Gale was a driver for Kevin Harvick Incorporated back in 2012. So we're not certain if it actually is him, but if it is, we've got a former Camping World Truck Series winner in this field here tonight. And kind of ironic, too. If it really is Cale Gale, I did a little bit of research when I saw the name pop up on the entry list. We're only 12 days removed from when Cale Gale got his very first, and at up to this point, the only Truck Series win he ever got. It was at Homestead Miami Speedway, November 16, 2012, and he beat one of the best in the business in Kyle Busch.
All right, the car's starting to roll off from pit road. Looks like it's going to be coming off turn 4 and ready to go.
We're going to see, especially here in the early portions, which line really is going to move. My assumption is with the newer tires, with the grip's going to be at its absolute peak, we're going to see everyone try and migrate to the bottom. Maybe when tires warm up, they'll try and go to the top side. But, as you stated, getting ready to go racing here as the field is about to head around. I think that's just going to be their final pace lap, and we'll be going green on the next lap. So, as we mentioned, there's drivers here that we've seen so far in the Mega Driver 86 series, but there's drivers we haven't necessarily seen before. Who's the driver you think we should keep our eye on here tonight?
Ethan Burrell, who's going to be starting in 17th. I think he's someone to watch for. He's going to have to go through the pack. But here we go. Pace car is off, coming around turn number 4 for this special event.
Into the restart zone. Green flag is going to wave. They'll get up through the gears, and we're racing in the Myrtle Beach 125.
Brian Wilkinson's going to be taking the lead with Chad Frankenfield going in 2nd, but our battle for 3rd is going to be between Tate Lytle and Campbell.
Campbell trying to get the outside line going there with Tate Lytle on the bottom. Ooh, 31 might have brushed the wall just the least little bit there off turn 4, but he'll slide into the 4th position now just ahead of Cale Gale.
That's the one thing that a lot of these drivers are going to have to worry about being on the outside is watching out for that wall. It's going to sneak up on you. During practice, a lot of guys were hitting it coming off turn 2 and 4.
I think this track has a little bit of a cushion there where you can run that second groove, but if you go just over the boundary of that second groove, there's not a whole lot of grip anywhere further up in the corners, and as you mentioned, you lose that grip, you go up and get the outside wall.
A lot of these guys were already just straightening it out, seeing how they're running. I think you're going to have to take it a little slow here. It's going to be a short race, but you got to be careful with the tires and make sure they last throughout these 65 laps.
And in terms of how drivers are going to be saving their tires, that also determines how they take the corner, especially going down there into turn 1, watching Brandon Wilkinson. He drives it like way down to the inside and hugs the bottom. Frankenfield, on the other hand, kind of swings it a little bit wide and then drives it in deep in the center of the corner. So different approaches to these corners here early for our race leaders.
Cale Gale is getting under Campbell, which Campbell just got into the wall lap prior. And that turn 4, he needs to get off the wall.
They're all wadded up right now. You've got Andrew Rucker right behind them, Stephen McGough, Jared Rexing. Whole host of race cars there as Campbell is going to clear for the spot. And now you've got Rucker under fire from McGough. Looks like Rucker will hold on to the spot. They're trying to get themselves back single file, but now maybe Rexing going to stick his nose under there. Well, backs off there. We'll let McGough for the moment have the 7th position, but I think he'll probably try and charge back again. And I think the 82 of Cale Gale, I don't know if he got tight or what, but he had Andrew Rucker all over his back bumper through 3 and 4.
We got Rexing trying to make a move on McGough, but just wrong place, wrong time. Here he comes off of 4. It looks like he finally got the momentum he wanted, and and he might be making the pass here into turn number 1 and 2.
One of the tough things about the short tracks too, especially when you're trying to make moves on the inside, it's so difficult to get the power down when you're on that inside line. Outside driver can kind of pinch you down and kill your straightaway speed, but I believe Rexing's going to make the move now, as I think Mago got the wall for a brief moment there off of turn 2. Now he's back on the attack of the 10. And as all this is going on, our battle for the race lead, it's kind of opened up a little bit, but Frankenfield isn't letting Wilkinson get away.
I think we're really going to see the battle for the lead is when they catch up to those lap cars and when we start to see leaders trying to get through the lap cars, the lap traffic. How easy can they get through?
Now, I believe that the last car in the field is still about half a racetrack ahead of the race leader, so it will take some time before they catch that slower traffic. And usually at a short track, as long as you catch them in a safe spot, it's easy to be able to get around the slower traffic. But if you catch them, especially in the entrance to a corner, and they don't give you that inside line, that's when we can see something really happen. I think the battle for the third position is actually starting to heat up a little bit. Not much separation between Tate Lytle and Jared Campbell, and they're slowly starting to reel in Frankenfield, so we could have a three-man fight for second place in a few laps.
Slowly but surely, they're trying to catch up, but also in the lead, you got Wilkinson just slowly pulling away from Frankenfield.
Right now, at least the last couple of laps, Wilkinson's been laying down lap times about 2/100ths faster than Frankenfield, so little by little, he begins to open up the distance. And little by little, Tate Lytle is starting to close in the distance between himself and Frankenfield. Remember, these two are actually teammates to each other, talking about Frankenfield and Lytle over in the Mega Driver 86 series.
Speaking of the Mega Driver 86 series, Frankenfield's actually our leader right now in the points.
Frankenfield ended up winning at, I believe it was Chicagoland, sorry, past Monday. Unfortunately, we weren't able to broadcast. We had quite a bunch of technical issues happen all at once that night. But as you mentioned, yeah, Frankenfield now is the only three-time winner over in that series after taking the checkered flag last week, and would love to take a checkered flag here tonight. And as I'm looking at the lap times now, yeah, still just a tick slower than Wilkinson, but again, just trying to keep within striking distance. And one thing that we were talking about before we came on the air, too, is with it being a smaller field, with it being a short track, and we're seeing things get spread out, drivers starting to figure out what they've got for the long run, when they make that green flag pit stop potentially on lap 65, pit road's going to be a very busy place, and that could be also a factor into maybe someone possibly speeding on pit road and costing themselves a good finish.
Yeah, and also something we didn't really think about was all these drivers. I mean, if we got cars that are going to be lapped down, these leaders are going to get fresher tires quicker than the lap cars. So you're going to see a lot of people running up on people throughout the track, and our leader finally passes the first lap car, and lap traffic might become an issue. The 20 car is letting everyone by very nicely, though.
That's Chris W. Jordan in the 20 machine, letting everyone by. First car going one lap down. He was one of the later people to get into the server, so probably had the least amount of practice time, as now he'll probably be hoping for a caution to come out. But I think we kind of expected coming into this race that we were going to be seeing the yellow flag slim to none at this point in time.
Yeah, I think it's going to get closer to people. And going back to fourth place, Gale is sticking it on Campbell's bumper, and he's getting pretty close and trying to make a move.
He's taken and moving up to that second groove on corner entry. That's allowing him a better entrance into the corner. Looks like Campbell might be able to get the better run off, but now 82 car kind of moves up the track a little bit on corner exit, and wow, he went like he just went up to the third groove there trying to get a better run into turns 1 and 2.
Trying to get as much speed and trying to get as much as you can out of these tires and these corners.
I would kind of wonder too, taking that higher arc into the corner, would that be using up more tires than someone that's hugging the bottom, or is it just about equal? Because you're not spending a whole lot of time up in that second groove, you're just spending it on the entry to the corner.
Kill is really getting on that bumper now with a beautiful exit off turn 4.
He can get to the outside of Campbell's right rear quarter panel coming off one of these turns, and I think he's got him. He just has to get the momentum off the turn to be able to get there. And right now, Campbell is being able to just get enough of the power down to hold him off, especially off of turn 4. That seems to be the best corner on exit for the 82.
These two are battling, but also for second with these lap cars. It's giving Tate Lytle a little bit of space to slowly trim this gap on Frankenfield. Wilkinson still pulling away at first. He's keeping a second gap between Frankenfield and Wilkinson.
Right now, Frankenfield and Tate Lytle, as they're battling amongst themselves, they're about to reel in, I believe that's a Kendall Noah player in the 94 just up ahead of them. And then they'll have to deal as well with the 32 of Dustin Dewar, as those two cars have been put down a lap by Brandon Wilkinson at this point in time. Now, these drivers normally, if this were a normal season event, they would probably be allowed to come to pit road whenever they want to, which they still are able to, but they cannot take tires till lap 65, so everybody is going to be pitting on the same lap. And I don't know if that necessarily, I think you alluded to this, that kind of takes away a little bit as far as drivers being able to utilize pit strategy to get fresher tires ahead of someone they may necessarily be battling for a position.
Yeah, because you threw out that a fuel strategy. It could have been a fuel window from 80 to 90 laps, but with cars coming in at 65, you're already halfway. This pit strategy is kind of thrown out the window. It's more of saving your tires, seeing how long they can last, and not pushing them too hard, as we have a battle for fourth is heating up now as Cale Gale is really getting under Campbell.
Here's an interesting thought. I don't think anybody would do it, to be honest, with it being a short track and with them going nearly halfway in this race, but would somebody, maybe back here, like 4th, 5th place, come down pit road on lap 65, go with fuel only, just fill up enough to the end, and not take tires, try and gain track position that way?
Well, I don't see that happening. But I mean, it is a way to throw it out there if strategy was involved. I think everyone's seen coming in, everyone has to get tires on 65. And trying to get fuel at a different time is, I mean, you're going to be filling up either way and getting tires during 65. I don't see the reasons why you would want to come in anytime other than that.
I don't really know exactly what the tires would look like if you ran an entire 125 laps on just one set. The only reason why I threw that out there, though, is because I remember back in the modified race that I saw, somebody was on 40, 50 lap old tires, but they were able to still keep up with the leaders. Granted, they had been to pit road earlier in that race, so they weren't running on tires that had been on the car since the drop of the green flag. But if somebody maybe was able to conserve tires enough to keep within a decent interval of the race leader, maybe utilize that to their benefit. But yeah, I'm looking for red herrings here, trying to find some stuff here that maybe we could see for strategy. But yeah, I agree with you. I don't think that anybody's going to turn down the chance to get 4 fresh tires on when they have to on lap 65, which we're halfway to. We have now completed 37 laps under green. We are about a quarter of the way now through this race, and this battle for fourth has been the fun thing to watch these last 10, 15 laps as Cale Gale continues to put the pressure on Jared Campbell.
Yeah, I mean, looking around the track, you really have little pockets of groups. You've got the 3 cars in the lead that are really running away with it, and then you've got the pocket for fourth and going back to about 6th. And you look around at other places, like all the way down to 9th, and you got this huge pack that's all clustered in all the way back to 15th.
It's in Isabella right now inside the top 10. That's Ethan Reisner right behind him. The Rainbow Warrior, number 86. Kind of ironic that Ethan Reisner is running a Rainbow Warrior throwback to Jeff Gordon, because Myrtle Beach was actually a track that Jeff Gordon, back in his Busch Series days, used as a testing track.
Ethan Burrell, who I was saying to watch out for, I mean, he's slowly moved up. He went from 17th at the start of the race up to 13th, so he's only gone up a few spots, but he's still with his pack, has a lot of people he could pass, move up.
One of the toughest thing about short tracks especially is you have to have patience, especially if you're in the predicament that Ethan Burrell is in, back there currently in the 13th position. You can't make aggressive moves, dive bomb every single corner to make passes for position, because 9 times out of 10, it's not going to work. You're going to end up with a wrecked race car. So you just got to take them one at a time. It may not necessarily happen in the first 10 laps. It may not happen in the first 20 laps. You just got to pick them off one by one. And right now, it looks like he's trying to get by the 999. That's Chris L. Fritz. That would be for the 12th position. But yeah, steadily working his way up through the field here. But definitely the fact that he started towards the rear of the field kind of hurting him, especially with the fact that he is currently the 3rd highest driver that is on the lead lap. Right now, we have a total of 15 drivers that are still on the lead lap at this current point in time.
Moving up to where we are in 2nd, you got Chad Frankenfield and Tate Lytle right on top of each other. And then for the battle that we had for 4th, Caleb Gale actually got past Cam.
He did, yep, moved up into the 4th position. And this battle that we're looking at for 2nd going on currently just a tick under 2 seconds behind the race leader, Brandon Wilkinson. And it looks like both these drivers running slightly different slightly different grooves, I should say, going into the corner. Frankenfield a little bit higher on entry. And they're about to catch, I believe that is the 16. Yes, it is, the 16 of Jared Dixon. And we'll see if he's going to give way to these two, but I think he might actually play a factor into making this battle a little bit closer.
I think what's going to help Chad Frankenfield catch up to Wilkinson is if Wilkinson gets stuck with this huge pack that I was talking about from 9th to about 14th, which is the next pack that Wilkinson's going to catch up to. It's going to be a lot of cars to get through. They're all very close together, and it's going to be very interesting to see how Wilkinson decides to get through this traffic.
Here's the important thing about that group you're talking about, too. Right in the middle of that group is the battle for 10th place, and we talked about the fact that the top 10 drivers are going to receive a purse at the end of this event. So they're all battling for position at the same time, trying to be courteous and not be in the way of the race leader.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be very interesting to see how they move around, how nicely they're going to play with each other here. But man, when they're entering turn, if you just watch this group, then when they enter into turn 1 or enter turn 3, they just get so close together. You're just hoping no one smashes into each other.
They were almost looking like they wanted to go 3 wide. I think that was David Tooker.
Tooker got into, who did he get into? Did he get into Burrell? He did.
I think it was, yeah, contact between, I think they're teammates in this race too. They're teammates over in the Mega Driver 86 series. I think they're teammates here tonight, both sporting very similar paint schemes.
This all happened in front of the leader. He probably was holding.
Yeah, I was gonna say, there's the 55 right behind all of this.
He finally caught the pack, and let's see how he gets through it. It's busy getting through.
Up ahead there with Fritz trying to get to the inside. Oh, caution! And that's going to be a big break, I think, for both the 19 and the 11. I think that Ethan Burrell was ahead. Oh, it's Stephen Mago in the 83. He's up against the wall there. I think that was in turn 3. Get his car turned around. He will. I believe he was on the lead lap, and that spin put him a lap down.
I'm very interested in what happened with him.
Take a look back at the replay. Now, this caution came out, I believe it was on lap 52. So again, just to stress, these drivers could come to pit road if they wanted to, but they can only take fuel. They cannot take tires till lap 65.
I could see a lot of them trying just to stay out. But the Stephen Mago accident looked like he got into the wall and just couldn't get off the wall, got himself stuck. And the 10 car of Jared Rexing came in, hit him, and he went around from there. Look
and see what happened here. between those two. We're battling pretty hard with each other in the beginning portion of the race. If I remember correctly, I think it was for around the 7th position, and oh yeah. Just went up and rode the wall. Got that left side up there and just couldn't get off of it. And one thing I'm noticing here is we see the 83 up there against the wall, that right front tire, you can see the brake rotors just glowing back there. Shows you just how much brake these drivers are using. That brings out the caution. Not necessarily a big wreck, and not necessarily a wreck that was caused due to drivers making contact, battling for position, just wrong place, wrong time for Rexing, with the fact that Mago lost so much momentum after getting into the wall. Couple of drivers looked like did come to pit lane, but again, they were unable to take tires.
Yeah, I know Mago came in to get some damage fixed up. I think it might have been just a couple cars coming in just to get cars fixed up. The 10 of Jared Rexing's coming in. He had some damage in front of his car because of that incident. People could be coming in because of them hitting the wall. There's outside exiting these corners is just looking tough for some people out here, and it's dangerous. I mean, the wall just sneaks up on you when you're exiting with so much speed.
It really does, and especially as we get longer into the run as well, so much pressure being put, especially on that right front tire, having to lean into the banking, and after a while, if it starts wearing down, you just don't have that grip coming off the corner and the car goes straight. Green lights are out atop the pace car. Wilkinson's going to take the inside line in this double file restart, putting Frankenfield on the top. 55 will be the control car as he will head into the restart zone. Back up through the gears, and we're back racing on lap 57. 58, sorry.
Frankenfield actually got a very good run, like takeoff at that restart, and is staying with Wilkinson so far on the high side.
We got a nice exit there off of 4. Almost brushed the wall, and you see it back there as well. Cale Gale, who was using the outside line to get by Jared Campbell earlier, he's now trying to get around Tate Lytle for 3rd. Frankenfield crossover, tried to go to the inside, couldn't get the run to 3.
Cale Gale still sticking up for 3rd, and Tate Lytle might lose 3rd position right here on the high side.
K.O. Gale here with the older tires now worn. He can get the run to the top side. Nope, Tate Lytle's going to clear him for 3rd place. Campbell moves into 4th. Campbell into 5th, rather. Andrew Rucker right behind him there as well. I thought before that caution came out, we were going to see a 3-way battle for 4th place between Gale, Campbell, and Rucker. And now Rucker's caught up here with a chance to get in the top 5. He's actually going for 5th on Campbell.
Trying to make a move. I think someone that's really been making a move has got to be David Tucker, who out of nowhere is up to 8th, who started on 18th at the start of the race.
He's gained a lot of positions, has David Tucker, and both he and I believe Ethan Burrell, they are still on the lead lap, so they were able to be ahead of race leader Brandon Wilkinson when that caution came out. I believe the lucky dog out of all of that got the free pass was the 10 of Jared Rexing, who got involved in what brought out the yellow flag. Right now, we have a total of 13 cars that are still on the lead lap, and there you can see it. Started 18th, up to 8th. David Tucker, I think you are correct, has picked up the most spots since the drop of the green flag.
I think we saw it at the end of that last run of just a pack that was just there. I wonder if we're going to see that again during this green flag run. Oh, caution's been thrown out.
Caution is out again. And yellow flag.
It looks like they were throwing the mandatory yellow for people to come in and get their pits done.
Okay, so they do throw a mandatory yellow for lap 65. Okay, we thought that maybe they might actually do it under green flag conditions, but no. So now they're all going to be coming to pit road, one behind the other. We'll have to see if the 55 team, if their pit stop's going to be able to keep him out in front, or can Chad Frankenfield's team rise to the occasion and get him out P1.
We've seen pit crews win and lose championships before, and let's see how clean these pit stops are going to be.
Everybody nose to tail coming down pit road. I believe, I'm not 100% certain, but I would assume that this yellow flag is going to put another driver back in the lead, which would be 14th place Alec Valvance. So we should lead lap when we go back green flag racing. That number 1 pit stall could be very important for Wilkinson.
The left sides go down, and Wilkinson's going to get out. Campbell is actually going to get out in second, and
wow,
I think that was Rooker that almost got out in third. Tate Lytle.
This was they had to take mandatory 4-tire pit stops, so nobody could go with 2 tires. I believe the 5 car is now hitting pit road. He stayed out because he was the free pass car, but I'm not sure. But this is going to be interesting now because it's going to be a new driver that's going to be trying to take the race lead away from Wilkinson in the form of Jared Campbell, as you mentioned. And I don't really think we've seen Campbell try that second groove yet tonight. And more than likely, based off the last restart, I think the 55 is going to choose the inside line.
Yeah, I mean, it worked on the first restart and the second. And I would imagine you want to stay there. He looks very comfortable on the bottom and really is getting the run. Frankenfield was looking like he might have been able to get something on the outside, but just I think the tires weren't there anymore, and they were pretty much toast at that point.
Oh, over here in the Elite Racing League, we've got some other events that are going to be coming up in the next couple of weeks. Of course, next Monday, the Elite Mega Driver 86 series will be coming to you from Michigan with 2 races remaining in the regular season. But this Friday, the Elite Racing League have their Indianapolis 500, their 5th annual Indianapolis 500. And we're going to be bringing you qualifying of that race from 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They're using the regular Indianapolis 500 rules, so that's going to be interesting. And then the main event, the Indianapolis 500, is going to be here on the Flatout Racing Network as well on November 15th. And that will be going live at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So a lot of big events coming up here for the Elite Racing League as we're getting ready to go back green.
We're green here at Myrtle Beach Raceway as Ryan Wilkinson, who has been leading every single lap, continues to lead, who gets a huge run, and Campbell is now might lose second to Tate Lytle.
Yeah, when Wilkinson got that good jump there at the start, Tate Lytle was right there with him. And by the time they got into turn 1, it was side by side for second between the 31 and the 56.
I'm interested to see if Campbell, if he stays on the high side, when is he going to get in the wall, or if he's going to get in the wall. We've seen him get into it at least 2 times so far this race, but it looks like Tate might be giving him some room to get by, or is Tate going to stay there? He's going to stay there and continue staying on the bottom, entering turn number 2.
Interesting to see about Chad Frankenfield, too. This is the furthest back that he's run in this race, currently in 5th position. He's spent most of this race so far up in 2nd place, and look who's right behind him. Guy that you said to keep an eye on. He started near the back of the pack, but he's up in the 6th position. How about Ethan Burrell up here in the second half of this race?
I mean, yeah, he looked like he just didn't get a qualifying time, but Ethan Burrell has been fast everywhere, and that's why he was my man to watch out going through the field.
Lytle's going to slot into the 3rd position. Andrew Rucker right behind him in 4th. Frankenfield in 5th. You've got kind of a train there from 2nd back to 5th place going through these corners. Right now, Jared Campbell looks like he is slightly trying a little bit higher groove going into the corners. I don't know if that's to try and run Wilkinson down or to hold Tate Lytle at bay.
I think someone who really was a big loser from all these pit stops has to be Cale Gale, who's all the way back to 10th right now. Trying to get his way through the I don't know what happened on pit road that made him lose a lot of time.
And according to scoring right now as well, I don't know if there was something that happened with the 19 and the 86 or if the scoring just hasn't updated, but it's got Cale
Caution's
Gale
out.
as the last car on the lead lap, and there you go. Yep.
It's looking like it was David Tucker coming off of turn number 2.
I think you are correct, yeah. You see the skid marks there on the back straightaway heading down towards the inside wall. Could have maybe been one of two things. Either he got tight off the corner, hit the wall, and spun, or he might have got a little help in the left rear quarter panel. We'll go back and take a look at the replay to find out.
Got a little low, figured out where the bumps are, and went from there. What a wild ride that was.
David Tucker was, at this point, minus a lap, so not sure how he lost that lap. See what happened to him here. Battling with Ethan Riesener. This was not for position at the time either. Or behind him, the 10 car was for position, Jared Rexing. And yep, got that left front right up the rumble strip, contact with Rexing. And I think Rexing might have gotten the worst out of that as he might have brushed that inside wall with the left side of his machine. That is what brought the yellow flag out here for the third time here tonight. And, I think we were definitely correct, at least in the early portions of this race, the fact that we probably weren't going to see the caution flag. But as I'm thinking about it, on the line for the top 10 finishers, there's a trophy on the line, obviously, for the race winner, and this is a short track. So as we get closer and closer to the end of the race, there are going to be drivers that are going to be willing to make more aggressive moves for position, so we could see more appearances of the yellow flag here, especially in the last 40 laps.
I mean, speaking around that bubble spot of 10th place, we only have 11 cars that are on the lead lap right now. Ethan Riesener is on 11th place. Cale Gale is on that bubble number 10. Vincent Isabella is 9th. And those 3 cars, I mean, it's going to be a battle to see who stays in 10th and keeps in the top 10 and who it isn't.
Of course, you also have the possibility, if we have not seen our last caution, if someone gets a violent enough hit that's up there inside the top 10, that could be a free spot for somebody outside the top 10 to maybe move their way in late. We're getting ready to go back green yet again. And we saw Jared Campbell on the last run trying that second groove. We'll see if he was able to learn anything as he'll start side by side with Wilkinson again, getting ready to go back green.
Coming to the restart box, and they are now green.
Wilkinson, the control car, able to determine when the acceleration point is, and the battle is on for second again. Tate Lytle to the inside of the 31, and not quite clear at this point is Campbell. He might have him clear down here into turn 1, and I think he does.
Wilkinson's just looking super quick up front, but I'm wondering with all the cars that are trying to pass Campbell or Tate or Frankenfield, like how much tires are they going to have left if they're battling with each other so much? Do they even have anything for the leader?
And I also think, too, that if they battle amongst themselves now, if someone shakes clear for second place, they're going to have to use up a lot of stuff trying to run down Wilkinson, while Wilkinson's out there just laying down consistent lap times. Good battle going on back here around the 6th position. Ethan Burrow, Michael Goodman, he's under fire from Cale Gale. You've got Chris Fritz in this mix, Vincent Isabella, all these drivers on the lead lap. As I believe that was the 19 of David Tucker just coming off of pit road. But from about the 7th position on back, this is where the best battling is currently. drop back here.
Trying to make
Go ahead, you're fine.
Trying to go for a move here. Actually, it's on Goodman that Kilgill's making a move on goal for 7. Making room for Fritz to come through. Not going to make it. Goodman comes down. Kilgill makes the pass. Now is moving up 7.
Right behind them, you've got the one of Vincent Isabella. Right now, he is in the final spot that would get a purse. Ethan Reasoner in the 11th position. I think he's got a couple of lap cars between himself and the one there. You see he's got to get around the 16, the 10, the 5. I don't know if he might have been the free pass car on the last caution, and so maybe had to start tail end of the field behind the lap machines, but he's got a lot of cars to pass before he can get up there and battle for Vincent Isabella for that final spot in the top 10.
And also, the Reasoner was in that caution with Tucker being hit on the side, and that could be affecting him right now.
Back up towards the further towards the front of the field, and we've got a battle here for second place really heating up. Tate Lytle putting the pressure on Jared Campbell. That last lap, it looked like he might be able to get to the inside, and I think Tate might have just brushed the wall there off the back straightaway, but he's getting some really good momentum through the center of the corner and has been able to get right up to the back bumper of the 31, especially on corner exit. Some connection issues going on there as well for the 31 of Campbell. Not what he wants, running up towards the front.
Also looks like the 31 brushed the wall slightly and still running high, which is giving Tate Lytle a bloody momentum to go below him into turn number 1.
As these two drivers are taking two different entries into the corner and getting themselves side by side, Chad Frankenfield's starting to reel them in as well, so it could be a 3-car fight for second place in just a couple laps. Got Andrew Rucker back there as well that would like these guys to keep racing so he can have something to say about it as well. And we've had a change. Second place now in the hands of Tate Lytle. It's the first time that Tate Lytle's been up in the runner-up position. Now let's see if he's got anything to maybe chip away at Wilkinson's lead, which right now is a little bit under 1.8 seconds.
Yeah, it's going to be the main question. Do they have enough tires to catch him, or can they even catch him at the moment? Brian Wilkins is looking quick, and I don't know if there's enough time for lap cars to really be effective here. They're going to have to really start moving, or the lap cars are going to have to start moving pretty slow. Oh, we got a spin. Campbell goes around.
That's going to bring out the caution. Jared Campbell, who was in the 3rd position at the time, going to spin around, and this is going to be interesting because I was going to bring up the point just before this caution came out. Tate Lytle, not by much, but was just a tick quicker the last 3 laps than Wilkinson. Now he's going to be starting on the front row with the 55. This could be interesting in the final 30 laps.
Looks like Chad Frankenfield's going for 3rd place and just bumped Campbell a little bit, got him sideways, and around he went.
I know that Campbell had been fighting some connection issues prior to that. Looked like at this point the connection issues had settled out. Here you see Frankenfield drives it in deep. Just slid up a little bit, and Campbell almost had it saved, but overcorrected just at the last minute and up into the wall. Pretty hard contact with the right front. He stays on the lead lap, but we'll have to see. Sometimes the hits they take here at short tracks are very deceiving. You look at it and you think, oh, that's nothing. And then we get back green and the car is much slower than it was originally. And you think, oh, well, maybe there was something more detrimental under the hood in terms of how much speed the car is able to produce.
Yeah, and with this,
what's really going to hurt Campbell out of all this is he dropped from 3rd back now to the 11th position.
Exactly, that's what I was going to bring up, is if he has a lot of damage, maybe he won't be able to get past Ethan Reasoner for 10th place. That's a battle that we're going to have to watch out when we go green.
I believe the 15 of Frankenfield has come to pit road. My assumption is that he's taking the responsibility for the wreck, which would be an EOL, so he will actually be the one starting last car on the lead lap on this restart. So 2 drivers. Campbell, the result of the spin, and Frankenfield, the result of spinning the 31, both going to be starting back now for Campbell back in 10th and for Frankenfield back in 12th. So both losing some very valuable track position.
I think Tate Lytle is someone that can really show Wilkinson something. He has a chance to show some speed here. Wilkinson's looked strong all race long. There's really been no one, except for at restarts, that looks like they can catch him.
I think that's going to be key for Tate Lytle is he's got to clear for second place. We saw before how Wilkinson got away on the last 2 restarts, and it was a battle between Campbell and Tate Lytle, and that allowed the 55 to be able to pull away. If Tate Lytle can get clear for second place and have himself single file behind Wilkinson, I think maybe, just maybe, he could have something for Wilkinson in these final 25 laps. But you got Rucker down there on the inside line, restarting in 3rd. Ethan Burrell up there in the top 5 for the first time tonight in 4th. And how about Cale Gale? Saw him outside the top 10 not too long ago. He's now up in the 5th position. As we're getting ready to go back green, it will be with a total of 24 laps to go.
The green flag goes out with 12 cars on the lead lap. Who's going to finish in the top 10? We've got 102 laps already finished and just a few more to go.
Lytle going to try and stick down there on the door of the 55. Can't quite do it. Well, I thought he might be able to get down in front of Rucker, but instead remains on the top side. And look at this run. He got through the center, 3 and 4. Oh, he got the wall. Oh, that's going to kill all his momentum, and they're 3 wide now, almost for second.
Cale Gale that gives him enough room to get there for 3rd. Still battling Rucker for 3rd place. Rucker might be able to keep it. We're going to see coming off of turn number 4. That was a hard smash for Tate Lytle.
Good news for Tate Lytle is he's still in the 2nd position. He was able to hold on to 2nd place, but is that going to affect the handling of his race car? That hit into the outside wall off of turn 4 as he tries to reel Wilkinson back in.
Wilkinson's trying to take that gap and extend it. With about 21 laps to go, will he be able to hold everyone off?
Rucker's doing a great job there on the top side, holding on to 3rd place, at least for the moment. Cale Gale still there on the bottom, trying to take the position away. I think he might get him here, who he had him by half a car length. But Rucker still battles on the top side and getting a good view of all this. 5th place, Ethan Burrell.
Ethan Burrell just hanging around, and you go back to about 9th place. You have Chad Frankenfield trying to move back up through the field after being involved with that ELL.
He's already passed Vincent Isabella for 9th, so Isabella right now in the 10th position. Next car in front of Frankenfield is Michael Goodman in the 73. Jared Campbell has worked his way back up to 7th at this point in time. And right now, that final 10th position is being held by Isabella, but you can see right behind him is the 86 of Ethan Reisner. So this is the battle for the final spot that would get a purse at the end of this race. And we are nearing 10 laps remaining in this event in the next 7 laps.
Tate Lytle, he might have smashed the wall, but he is slowly catching the leader.
Lap times just a tick quicker than Wilkinson. That last time by, he ran, I think it was about 4/100ths faster, and he is right there. Now, here's the interesting thing. Does he want to see a caution come out, or does he want this to run green? Because I think if it runs green, he could be on the back bumper of Wilkinson. But the only thing I'm wondering about, Rucker's putting down some good lap times as well. Could he catch Tate Lytle before Lytle catches Wilkinson?
I don't think Rucker's going to catch Lytle, but Lytle has shown that he has got the faster car when these tires get worn down.
Also, it's shown that he's able to migrate up to the top side. Remember, Wilkinson has spent the entire race out front. He's kept it right down to the bottom of the racetrack. If he gets passed by Tate Lytle, he may have to try and figure out if he can run that second groove, and he hasn't tried it all night long.
Next closest battle is 4th, 3rd, with Cale Gale trying to get onto Rucker.
Rucker's been able to utilize the outside line when Cale Gale gets to the inside. Off the corner, Rucker's able to hold him off. Got them all nose to tail there with 5th place Ethan Burrell there. Chris Fritz not too far behind as well, and right behind him, Jared Campbell trying to break up into the top 5. As we look at the lap times again and again, this time it looked like Wilkinson was a little bit faster. No, I'm sorry. No, he was a little bit slower by about 2/100ths again to Tate Lytle, but the battle for third side by side again.
Cale Gale is right under Rucker, and he's going to turn into turn number 3. Is he going to be able to make the move? It looks like he went a little deep, had to back off, but he's going to have to run off. Looks like Rucker's going to keep third, keep fourth. Oh no, it's third. My bad.
Looks like Ethan Burrell is trying to see if maybe if Rucker can clear on the top side for third place, maybe he can jump up there to the top side and try and take fourth place away from Cale Gale. Now tucks back in line. They continue nose to tail. You've got about 4, 5, 6 cars here all lined up from third place back to Frankenfield in 8th.
10 laps to go. Who's gonna finish where? It's the top 10 that get surprise pull. Who's gonna finish?
Right now, the interval between first and second, just about 9/10. The battle for the 10th position between Vincent Isabella and Ethan Reasoner, that's even closer. Right now, that battle is about 2/10.
2 cars that were up front, but then you had some issues in that last caution, or about 2 cautions ago, was Chad Frankenfield and Campbell. They're slowly moving their way up at 7th and 8th.
Probably not going to win this race, but trying to make the best of what they can after bringing out our 4th and hopefully final caution. At the line this time for Wilkinson, the gap between himself and second place Tate Lytle about 9/10 of a second, thereabouts. And continuing little by little to increase, it's now increased to a full second. So did Tate Lytle use up all his stuff? Is the damage he sustained coming off turn 4 getting into the front straightaway wall, is that now starting to come into play? Or was Wilkinson maybe saving his stuff just a little bit there on the beginning of that last restart, and now he's mashing the throttle and putting down some Q laps?
I think it could have been the latter with that one, but these battle for third all the way to about 6th. I mean, these guys are right on top of each other.
Now Wilkinson at 5 laps to go, will be at 4 laps when he comes around this next time, and boy, good run in the center of the corner, but he just can't take that momentum anywhere, or else he's going to run into the back of Rucker. Thought I might have seen a little bit of smoke there in turn 1, but we're still green.
Might have been people just getting on the brake just a little too hard, trying not to smash into one another.
Rucker that time took a little bit higher exit off of 4. But Cale Gale was not able to be close enough to get momentum to make a move for the position. At the line this next time by 2 laps to go for Brandon Wilkinson. I'm pretty certain he's led every lap but 1. I think the 1 lap he didn't lead was led by Alex Belvance. But it's been a dominating performance. But look at this! Did my eyes deceive me, or has Tate Lytle been able to reel him back in?
Tate Lytle, from being a second down, I mean, he is caught. He's less than half a second on him.
He's only got 1 more lap to close in, a little less than half a second. Does he have enough momentum to get to at least the back bumper of the 55? Wilkinson, he's going to have to hug the bottom through this corner. I think he's got himself enough distance. And off turn 4 for the final time, the Myrtle Beach 125 will go to Brandon Wilkinson.
Wilkinson's going to get first. Lytle's going to get second. But for that money spot, it's going to be Vincent Isabella getting that number 10.
He is. Got it by just about 2/10 over Ethan Reasoner. And they were battling among some lap traffic at the time as well. Tate Lytle, Andrew Rucker, Cale Gale, Ethan Burrell, Chris Fritz, Chad Frankenfield, Michael Goodman, Jared Campbell, and Vincent Isabella will all be leaving Myrtle Beach with a purse. And of course, for Wilkinson, definitely a dominating performance, a huge statement for the 55 car. And again, like we said at the very beginning, good track position was definitely what allowed Wilkinson to control this race the entire way.
That was a fun race to watch. Tate Lytle really trying to come back. It looked like he maybe didn't have enough in it and just out of nowhere started catching Wilkinson. That was a great try on his part. Rucker, someone
Sure was.
who was in the top 5 most of the race, really stayed consistent and was able to hold off Gale. Gale almost lost 4th to Ethan Burrell, but Burrell was not able to get past him. And the rest of the field, I mean, this was a great race to watch. A very good, clean green flag run at the beginning. And it was fun watching these guys try to control their tire wear and where they finished off.
We only saw 4 cautions, 3 of them due to race contact. The other one, of course, came out on that lap 65 for them to make their pit stops. And I think that with the fact we saw some long green flag runs, you mentioned about Andrew Rucker, Ethan Burrell, I don't think either one of them started up inside the top 5. We saw with the long run speed, the ability to be able to make passes, the ability to be able to utilize picking up positions on restarts. They were able to finish up there inside of the top 5 in 3rd and 5th. And you look at some of these guys too, like Chad Frankenfield, Jared Campbell. Yep, they were up there inside the top 5 for most of the race. They got involved in a late caution, but making the best of the situation, still getting up there, still leaving with a purse in 7th and 9th place. So good comeback runs for them.
We're waiting to see. It looks like Wilkinson is ready to be interviewed after getting that brilliant win. Brandon Wilkinson, congratulations on the win.
Thanks, man.
Dominating
Definitely.
most of that race. Man, congratulations.
Yeah, I mean, the pole position starting from the front row, the inside of the front row, looked like you were really able to control the race for the entirety. But what was going through your head there after you had about a second lead between yourself and the 56, and then with 2 to go, starts closing in bigger and bigger in your rearview mirror?
Yeah, I hate restarts, especially when you got to go on green. So I want to make sure we had something to fire off for 2 good ones with there at the end, just in case. But no, we definitely get around this place pretty well. Our epic Ford Mustang was pretty fast tonight. So just got to thank all my guys back at the posse who are working hard, making sure our cars for Thursday are fast for another league right now and allow me to come do this. So no, I just I wanted to make sure we had some dig left there for the last couple in case we got one, but luckily we didn't, and everything worked out right tonight.
Out of curiosity, let's just suspect the fact that maybe the 56 was able to get by you. We saw, obviously, with you being out in front, your car was committed to the bottom line. Saw a lot of drivers try and move up, use that second groove, and some drivers were able to make it work. If you had been passed for the race lead, were you going to be able to have a car that could go up to that second groove and wrestle the lead back?
Yeah, I think so. Before the comp yellow there, I tried it just in case I felt like taking the top, but after last Tuesday night when we ran the mod here, the first time somebody got under me, that ended our night. So I was very committed to the bottom all night. I've always run a different line here than everybody else, and it's always worked out. So, I'm very fond of this place, race this place a lot, and to come here and consider, to get a win to what I consider home is pretty huge for us for sure.
Obviously, a great win, a dominating performance. You're getting a trophy, you're getting a purse, you're getting race tickets, but we want to give you the opportunity here to be able to give shout outs or thanks to anybody that you want to as you're here on the broadcast.
Yeah, absolutely. First and foremost, my awesome sponsor, Drew Krybeck from Wisconsin at Epic Media. He provides us with a lot of comfy clothes, comfy koozies, and some great looking race cars. Cody Thompson, he makes these things look awesome every time we hit the track. Tommy Catalano at Rocket Performance out of New York, Willis Auto Body, Mike Willis, Lisa, and all their family there in New Hampshire. My girlfriend for watching, and like I said, all the guys at the posse, and Kendall, Myrtle Beach Speedway for the big event here, and all you guys for broadcasting. It's definitely a good event. Glad to bring it home for sure.
All right, well, a dominating performance to be sure. Go enjoy your win, and congrats on the victory.
Yeah, we'll try. Thank you.
Next to be brought up is going to be Tate Lytle, who got second in the race today.
Tate, a second place finish. Looked like you had a car there on that last restart that maybe had something to say about the race win, but then you got the wall there off of turn 4. After that point, did you think that you maybe could get back to the 55?
Honestly, I was just trying to. After I hit the wall, the car wasn't. I mean, there was some damage, but it didn't drive any different. And I was just trying to keep the tires cool. That way, if we did get another restart, I could maybe have another run at him. But I knew I wasn't gonna. I could run him down probably, or stay even with him. But it was gonna be pretty far fetched to pass him without him making a mistake.
That you were trying to utilize that second groove, especially in the second half of the race, and we saw you be able to actually make some passes. If you had been able to get up to his back bumper, do you think that would have been where you'd have to go in order to try and take the lead away from him?
Yeah, I was pretty bad on the bottom, so I think I would have had to have gotten position on him on the top. I had position on him on that restart, but I just got to the gas a little early in 3 and 4. That wall kind of sneaks up on you when you're running that high off the corner. But I mean, hey, second place, $20, not bad at all.
Not bad at all. That's indeed correct. Samuel, you got anything?
How hard was it keeping those tires? I mean, not wearing them completely when you were trying to pass for second.
Honestly, the tires on these things wear pretty well. Like I was only down to like 91% after that 65 lap run, and we were green the whole time. And I was trying to set up something on Chad that whole run, so I mean, it's not like I was taking it too big of an easy on him, but it was more just trying to keep him cool, not really sliding him off the corner. They didn't really wear much.
All right. Well, want to give you the opportunity before we let you go to shout out, thank anybody that you want to here.
Yeah, just thank Chad for putting everything together, and you guys for broadcasting the race. So thank you.
Not a problem. Congrats on your second place finish. Go enjoy it, and we'll maybe talk to you later on in the Mega Driver 86 series.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Right, we do not have third place Andrew Rucker with us, so we will probably be bringing this broadcast to a close. But closing thoughts here, Samuel. You said this is the first time you've seen racing go on at Myrtle Beach. What were your impressions?
This was a fun racetrack to watch. I mean, seeing all the different grooves people were trying to use. I mean, it was interesting to hear that Wilkinson wanted to stay on the bottom, and Tate Lytle just was struggling on that bottom side. And just seeing how these guys were trying to keep their tires cool, it was very fun to watch these guys racing here at Myrtle Beach.
This definitely looked a lot like the previous race that I've seen at Myrtle Beach, where it's a multi-groove track. Usually, if you're on that outside line, you can get that good run off the corner and get that straightaway speed. So it was nice to be able to see a lot of passing going on there. The restarts definitely played a huge factor as well, with drivers being able to pick up spots when they were all close together. And a relatively clean race as well. 125 laps at a short track, only 3 cautions for contact, the one for the midway point. So to see a long green flag run, see drivers race each other hard, but race each other clean, that's really the kind of short track racing that kind of puts a smile on my face. But we've got a lot, as we mentioned, coming up here in the next few weeks out of the Elite Racing League. Of course, as mentioned, we're going to be going Indy 500 qualifying this coming Friday, November 8th. That'll be running from 6 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Next Monday, we've got our next to last race of the regular season at Michigan. That's going to be crazy. Hopefully, that'll be a multi-groove track. We've got the following Friday on November 15th. We're going to be bringing you the Elite Racing League Indy 500 main event. And then that following Monday, it's going to be a wild Daytona race, the final regular season race for the Elite Mega Driver 86 series. Last opportunity for someone to maybe get a win and get themselves into the playoffs. So a lot coming up here for Elite Racing League, and it's all going to be coming up here on the Flatout Racing Network. Looking forward to all of that.
Yeah, it's going to be great to watch, and I know this is going to be my last broadcast until maybe Daytona, so it has been fun, Seth. I'll see you then.
All right, going to be looking forward to doing that with you. He's Samuel Dyer. I'm Seth Cole. We'll see you guys this Friday for Indy 500 qualifying. Until then, we'll see you next time.